For today, I'm going to discuss factoring by completing the square. So, papaano nga ba tayo kukuha ng factors using completing the square? Alright class, for our first example, we have p to the fourth plus p squared plus 1. Once again, p to the fourth plus p squared plus 1. Pansin natin class ang ating middle term, p squared. So ano ba dapat ang nasa middle term natin para masabi natin siyang perfect square trinomial? Papaano sir malalaman kung ano dapat yung nasa gitna na term? So ganito class, focus muna tayo sa p to the fourth at sa 1. So sa una at saka sa huli. What is the square root of p to the fourth? So the square root of p to the fourth is p squared. Then, what is the square root of 1? 1. Then, we're going to multiply p squared and 1. Yan. So, p squared times 1 is p squared. And, we're going to multiply it by 2. Ulit, kinuha natin ang square root ng p to the fourth, naging p squared. Then, kinuha natin ang square root ng 1, which is 1. Pinag-multiply natin ang p squared at 1, ang sagot ay p squared, at iminultiply natin siya sa 2. Now, p squared times 2 ay 2p squared. So, dapat 2p squared ang ating middle term. So, ngayon class, ano ba dapat yung ating gawin para magkaroon tayo ng 2p squared sa ating middle term? So, gagamit tayo ng completing the square ngayon. So, p to the fourth plus p squared plus yung idadagdag natin para maging 2p squared ito. Yan. Plus 1. Kopyahin natin yung 1. At class, take note, pag nagdagdag dito or pag nag-add tayo dito, magma-minus tayo sa sunod. Minus. Pero, same pa rin tayo ng gagamitin na number or terms. Now, we have p to the fourth plus p squared plus ano yung kailangang idagdag natin sa p squared para maging 2p squared? Okay, that is p squared. So, kung nag-add tayo dito ng p squared, magma-minus tayo sa kabila ng p squared. So, laging ganun class. Add, minus. Pero same tayo ng term na ina-add at saka imina-minus. Okay, let's simplify these terms. So, p to the fourth. Napansin nyo class, meron tayong like terms, di ba? P squared plus p squared ay 2p squared. Yan. Plus 1 minus p squared. Okay. So, mapapansin natin ng ating p to the fourth plus 2p squared plus 1 ay pwede natin kunan ng square of a binomial. So, pwede natin siyang mapaktor. So, p to the fourth plus 2p squared plus 1. Paano po natin makukuha ang square of a binomial nitong ating perfect square trinomial? So, class, focus ulit tayo kay p to the fourth at saka kay 1. So, what is the square root of p to the fourth? P squared. And gumamit tayo dito ng plus, kaya ibig sabihin, plus ang gagamitin natin dito. Next, anong square root ng 1? Okay, 1. Then, we're going to square the binomial. So, square root of, the quantity p squared plus 1 raised to the second power. Kopyahin lang natin itong minus p squared. Now, class, ano ang sunod nating gagawin? So, we need to factor the difference of the two squares. So, paano yung factor the difference of two squares? So, ano yung factor ng ating negative p squared? Diba? Positive p and negative p. So, gawin muna natin. So, ano yung factor ng ating negative p squared? Diba? We have negative p and positive p. So, ito ngayon ang isasama natin dito sa ating binomial. So, ano mangyayari dito? We have p squared plus 1, p squared plus 1. Isama muna natin to dito. So, negative p. Tapos, ulitin natin. P squared plus 1. Dahil na isama na natin siya sa kabila, ito naman ang isasama natin dito. Plus p. Yan. Then, i-arrange lang natin siya from our variable papunta sa ating constant. So, p squared minus p plus 1. So, yung kabila naman, p squared plus p plus 1. And there you go. Meron na tayong factor ng ating given polynomial kung saan gumamit tayo ng completing the square. And that is quantity p squared minus p plus 1 times the quantity p squared plus p plus 1. For our next example, so example number 2, meron tayong 64a to the fourth plus 81. So class, once again, kagaya ng ginawa natin ng unang example, observe the given polynomial. So what must be the middle term so that the trinomial is a perfect square? So sa palagay nyo, ano yung kailangan nating middle term? Di ba dalawang terms lang tayo meron dito? 64a to the fourth and 81. Wala tayong middle term. So papaano ulit kunin yung ating middle term? So we have 64a to the fourth and 81. Kukunin ulit natin ang square root ng 64a to the fourth. So 64a to the fourth ay, so what is the square root of 64a to the fourth? 8a squared. Next, what is the square root of 81? 9. Now, let's multiply 8a squared and 9. We're going to have 72a squared. And kagaya ng ginawa natin kanina, minultiply natin sa 2. And ano yung magiging sagot natin dito? 144a squared. So, meaning pala, dapat meron tayong middle term na 144a squared. Sa case natin dito, meron lang tayong binomial. 64a to the fourth and 81. So, kailangan natin ng 144a squared sa gitna. So, meaning, mag-a-add tayo ng 144a squared since wala naman siyang middle term para maging perfect square. Okay? So, 64a to the fourth. Add na lang tayo. Plus 144a squared plus 81. Kopyahin. Plus 81. Then, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, kung nag-add tayo dito, magma-minus tayo ngayon dito. So, 144a squared. Ngayon, masisimplify pa ba natin ito? Itong term na to? So, 64a to the fourth plus 144a squared plus 81. Meron pa ba tayo dito na like terms. So, tatlong ito. Okay. Ito ay perfect square trinomial na. So, pwede na natin kunin ang kanyang square of a binomial. So, papaano ulit? Focus ulit tayo dito. So, what is the square root of 64a to the fourth? 8a squared. Next, positive, positive. Meaning, positive ang gagamitin natin or plus. Focus naman tayo dito sa pangatlong term ulit. So, square root of 81 is 9. Yan. Then, square natin siya. So, meaning ang factor pala ng 64a to the fourth plus 144a squared plus 81 ay quantity 8a squared plus 9 raised to the second power. Kopyahin na lang ulit natin ito. 144a squared minus 144a squared. So, class, ano ang factor ng negative 144a squared? So, the factor of negative 144a squared ay, so negative, focus muna tayo dito class, so negative 144a squared ay negative 12a and positive 12a. Bakit? Kasi negative 12a times 12a ay negative 144a squared. Ngayon, itong dalawang ito ang isasama natin dito. So, therefore, magkakaroon tayo ng 8a squared. Kopyahin lang ulit, kagaya kanina. Plus 9. Unahin na natin itong isa. Negative 12a minus 12a times, okay, wait, adjust ko lang ng konti para magkasya. Ulit, negative 8a or quantity 8a squared plus 9. Dagdag natin yung negative 12a. Yan. Then, ang isang term ay, or ang isang quantity ay 8a squared. Next, plus 9. Then, 12a plus 12a. Ito class. So, meron tayong 8a squared or quantity 8a squared plus 9 minus 12a and quantity 8a squared plus 9 plus 12a. Ngayon, i-arrange na lang ulit natin siya depende sa variable na meron. So, 8a squared. So, 8a squared mauna ang negative 12a bago ang 9. Ayusin lang natin. Next, sa kabila naman, 8a squared ulit. Mauna ang positive 12a bago ang 9. So, nire-arrange lang natin siya. So, meaning ang factor ng ating 64a to the fourth plus 81 ay quantity 8a squared minus 12a plus 9 times the quantity 8a squared plus 12a plus 9. For our example number 3, we have x to the fourth plus 5x squared plus 9. So, observe ulit natin ang ating given polynomial. So, ano ba ang dapat nasa middle term natin para masabi natin na perfect square trinomial? So, kagaya ng ginawa natin kanina sa mga naunang examples, kukunin muna natin ang square root ng ating first and last term. So, x to the fourth, anong square root ng x to the fourth? X squared. So what is the square root of 9? That is 3. And we're going to multiply x squared and 3. So meron tayong 3x raised to the second power. Now, we're going to multiply it by 2. So ganun ulit. So 3x squared times 2. The product is 6x squared. So, dapat pala, ang ating middle term ay 6x squared at hindi 5x squared para masabi natin na perfect square trinomial. So, anong kulang natin sa 5x squared para maging 6x squared? So, sige nga, gagawin natin to. So, x to the fourth plus 5x raised to the second power. So, ano yung i-add natin? Tapos, copy to, plus 9. Sabi ko kanina, sa mga dalawang examples, sa mga nauna examples, pag nag-plus dito, minus ang sunod. So, minus yung ating napiling o yung ating i-add dito na term. So, once again, the question is, ano yung kulang sa 5x squared para maging 6x squared? So, ano yung idadagdag natin? Okay, so ang kailangan natin dito ay x squared. So, meaning, kung nag-add tayo dito ng x squared, magma-minus tayo sa kabila ng x squared. So, let's proceed. As you can see, meron tayong like terms. 5x squared and x squared. X to the fourth plus 5x squared plus x squared ay 6x squared. Just copy 9 and copy negative x squared or minus x squared. Tingnan ulit ang ating first three terms. So, ito ay perfect square trinomial. So, pwede na ulit natin kunin ang ating square of a binomial dito. Papaano ulit? So, we're going to focus ulit sa ating x to the fourth at sa ating pangatlong term na 9. Okay? So, what is the square root of x to the fourth? So, the square root of x to the fourth ay x squared. Since plus ang ating sign dito. Next, what is the square root of 9? The square root of 9 is 3. And i-erase natin ang quantity na to sa square. Kasi, quantity x squared plus 3 raised to the second power ay x to the fourth plus 6x squared plus 9. Once again, pag pinag-multiply natin pala ang x squared plus 3 sa kanyang sarili, sa x squared plus 3, ang magiging sagot ay x to the fourth plus 6x squared plus 9. And then, we're just going to copy minus x squared. Next, anong sunod natin gagawin? Kunin natin yung factor ng ating negative x squared. So, negative x squared ay x and negative x. Okay? So, itong dalawang ito, isasama ulit natin dito. So, kokopihin ulit natin to. We'll be having x squared plus 3. Kunin natin yung isa. X, meaning plus x. Next, isa pa. X squared plus 3. Kunin naman natin itong minus x kasi nagamit na natin itong isa kanina. So, minus x. Now, i-arrange lang ulit natin siya. Yung ating x squared plus 3 plus x squared plus 3 minus x. I-arrange lang ulit natin siya na mauna yung may variable. So, x squared, nauna yung x plus x. Sunod yung 3. Then, sa kabila, ganun din. X squared, nauna yung minus x, plus 3. So, meaning, ang factor ng given natin na x to the fourth plus 5x squared plus 9 ay quantity x squared plus x plus 3 times the quantity x squared minus x plus 3 using the completing the square. For our example,